On today's video, we're going to give you the real facts on buying a new construction home in Raleigh, North Carolina. Hi, this is Chris Morton, real estate broker with eXp Realty in Raleigh, North Carolina, and in today's video, we're going to give you the facts, the real facts on buying a new construction home and what it takes to go through the whole process. So there are a lot of really good reasons to buy a new construction home. Supply of resale homes is so low right now, and competition for those homes are so high that if you can stand to wait 4 months or a year or whatever it takes to build a home, you're in a much better position. Those people that have to be in a home quick can't go through that process. They have to be somewhere in 30, 60 days. They can't wait that long. And so therefore, by you going the new construction route, you're gonna have a lot less competition. You're gonna have a lot more things to choose from and a lot less stress of having to overpay for a resale home. One of the other advantages of a new construction is you get that new modern design floor plans that are out today. You get brand new appliances. You get that new home smell. Some people don't like that smell. I think it's really cool. Anyway, there's all kinds of really good, positive, new reasons to buy homes. So let's go through the process. What does it take to buy or even build from scratch a brand new construction home? So the very first step is you gotta identify what you need in your new construction home. And from that point, you would then identify a builder and a neighborhood that has those kind of floor plans that you like. You then go look at all their floor plans, narrow it down to the ones you like, and you pick out a lot that house will fit on. After that, once you're happy with the plan, you're happy with the lot, you're happy with the basic price that the builder gives you, you then go under contract and you sign the builder contract to tie that house up to be your house. So now that you're under contract with the builder to build your home, the next step is to figure out what the selections inside the home are going to be, such as, the countertops, the lighting, the flooring, all that sort of thing. And there's really 3 routes that can be taken in this. The first route is the builder has already made all the selections for you. You basically sign off and agree to buy the house as they're building it, and you move on and you wait for the building process to get going. The second step is the builder may have a design center. And here, this is a design center from one of my favorite builders, Terramore Homes. Here you can see you've got a complete selection to choose everything you need to customize a home and make it your own. From the flooring, to the granite, to the quartz countertops maybe, backsplash, lighting package, faucets, just about anything you can imagine, you can pick here at the design center. The third option is something that Terramore is also doing, and they're just getting started with this, and this is where the designers do the work for you. They pick selections out, and you have different packages to choose from. Now, the positive of this is it's very low stress on you. You don't have to take a day out of your time to go to the design center. It's curated by a trained professional designer, so you don't have to worry about, am I mixing and matching things wrong? Is this gonna look ugly when we get the house completely done? You're gonna know, because of the experience of the design center people, that it's gonna be beautiful when it's done. For the builder, they're gonna save money and time. They know what they've got in the house. They know how long it's gonna take to build the house. It keeps their costs down. The negative of a design selection package like this is you can't mix or match. If you like the countertop but you don't like the backsplash, you're gonna have to pretty much live with the backsplash. So there's the negative of it. With custom builders, it's similar to the Terramore Design Center, except in addition to having the selections that they have already curated for you as options, they're willing to go outside of their design center. If you have an amazing light that's from Europe and you want to bring in, they're able to do that. And that is the truly high-end custom builders. So once the design center selections have been made, the builder now starts building your home, and you pretty much sit back and let that process happen up until the point that the framing is done and before the walls go up. There's a meeting you would have with the builder where you go through the house at this point to make sure the lights are where they're supposed to be, the internet ports are where they're supposed to be, and if any modifications you made on the house, that those modifications have been done correctly. And incidentally, this is a really good time to hire an inspector to go through and make sure the house is at this point up to code and there's not going to be any flaws, there's not been any weird shenanigans going on, that everybody's happy up until this point with the house being built. And then you again sit back and let the builder finish building the house. It's usually about 2 more months to go, give or take. Custom houses obviously going to take much longer, but about 2 weeks before the home is ready to close on and become yours, that's a really good time for you to hire an inspector again to go through the house and test every electrical outlet, to test the lights, to test everything that would be done in a resale home to make sure the home is ready to be moved into. About a week later, you're going to have an orientation meeting with the builder. At this orientation meeting, you would give the builder the inspection report from your inspector, and you would go through, and the builder would tell you how to do everything with the house, turn off the main water line, how the hot water heater works, just about anything you can imagine. They're going to go over with you at this point. And also, they're going to have a blue tape session, as I call it. And that's basically where you and the builder go through the home and you look for any flaws in the paint, any flaws in the trim work that needs to be patched up, repainted, etc. by the paint crew. And you mark it with blue tape so that the builder painters are aware of what needs to be done. And finally, you get to the day of closing. The morning of closing, you're going to want to meet with the builder one more time to make sure all the blue tape spots have been fixed, to make sure all the repairs that your inspector found have been fixed, and to answer any last questions you may have from the builder. And this is done on the way to the attorney's office to go through the closing, where you sign off on the paperwork and get the keys and celebrate later that afternoon, ideally, that you have a brand new home. So all this sounds pretty easy, right? Well, unfortunately, there are some pitfalls and complications involved in new construction. And it's at this point that I strongly recommend everyone think about getting a real estate agent. You see, buying a house is not like buying a car. With a car, if you don't like it, you can trade it in. And it's a lot of money, but it's not as much money as a house. You don't necessarily need representation to buy a car, but you definitely need representation, at least in my opinion, to buy a house. So one of the pitfalls you need to know about buying a new construction house is the cost of materials are going up and up and up. Lumber is quadrupled in price recently, and it's causing upward pressure on the price of homes. And unfortunately, the builders are in general having to pass those costs on to the buyer. The other pitfall you need to be aware of is because the supply of resale homes, like we talked about at the beginning of this, is so low, then it gives builders, unfortunately, some of the unscrupulous builders, an opportunity to massively jack up prices and get greedy. Another pitfall of new construction is there are some builders that are cutting the real estate buyer agents' commissions. They're doing it, they say, to cut costs and to basically offload those commissions onto the buyer, which makes the house look less expensive. But I personally suspect they're doing it to keep buyer agents out of the negotiation process, out of the inspection process. So they basically have brand new people that have never bought a home before coming into their design centers, coming into their models that they can unfortunately take advantage of. And they're out there, they know who they are, and in my opinion, they're doing it deliberately. So again, bottom line, I highly recommend you hire your own representation to buy a new construction home, just like you would to buy a resale home. So what are the positives of hiring your own real estate agent? Well, the first one I can think of is an experienced real estate agent is going to know the bad builders from the good builders. They're going to be able to help guide you through this process to know who's going to be a little slimy, who's going to be unscrupulous, who's going to be a really good builder to work with, like Terramore Homes, for example. There's a builder, for example, in our market that is using cardboard as walls to save money. You would never know who they were if you were not an agent. Most real estate agents know who they are, and yeah, you can imagine. Another thing that real estate agents can help you with is the upgrade process. They're gonna know which upgrades at the design center are good for you and which aren't good for you. This relates back to a story I tell all my clients that are building a home. I had a couple who was looking to do upgrades, and they're in the design center for a starter home. This was back probably 10 years ago. I think the home was probably $150,000, $200,000. Today it would be a $350,000 home, to give you an idea. I got to the design center meeting late. I let everyone know I was going to be late. I had another appointment. So I get over there, and in the 30 minutes that I had missed of this meeting, the design center specialist had convinced these guys to spend something like $100,000 in upgrades. I mean, they basically had gold fountains dripping gold down from the walls. I mean, it was insane. Again, this was a starter home. These guys did not need to put in like super high-end granites, Corinthian leather wallpaper, blah, 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 blah. They were doing it. They would never get this out. I had to say, whoa, 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 whoa. Time out, guys. I brought them over and I said, here's the situation. This is not your forever home. You don't need to be spending this kind of money that you'll never get out of the home here. Meanwhile, the model agent design center lady was just giving me the laser eyes of death because I was, I guess, ruining her profit margins or whatever. So that's an example of where an agent can be really, really valuable and help you through the process. Another way that an agent can help you through the process is through that contract. I can remember back where I was helping some folks buy a house. We were going through the contract, and there was a amendment in the contract saying the builder had up to 2 years to get the home done at no penalty. 2 years. My folks needed to be in that home within a few months. They didn't have 2 years to wait for the builder to dilly-dally around. So luckily, before we had signed anything, before it was official, before we had turned over any money, we walked out the door. And that is something that most buyers would never have caught. An unscrupulous on-site agent that's working for that builder is not going to go through every single line of the contract. Because I had been in real estate and sold real estate for a number of years, I was looking through the contract as the on-site was flying through it, and I said, whoa, 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 what does this mean, this amendment here, 2-year thing? And she had to explain it. My people were shocked. We left. The next way a real estate agent's going to help is they're going to help navigate through those inspections. You as a buyer probably don't know a lot of home inspectors. Real estate agents, we know home inspectors. We know home inspectors that specialize in new construction. My favorite home inspector not only goes through the process of inspecting the home at the end, that 2 weeks before closing time I talked about, also do that blue tape of the walls before the builder gets in and does it. So you've not only got your eyes on those walls, my eyes on those walls, the builder's eyes on those walls, but you now have a trained inspector's eyes who has a flashlight, who's going through and checking everything out. So that makes that orientation meeting a week before closing super smooth, super easy. Generally, the builders probably already had their paint crew come in and done that first coat to get rid of all the blue tape that the inspector found. That's gonna make your day go from 4 or 5 hour orientation meeting down to about an hour. It's amazing, and it's totally worth the money you spend. And the last advantage of hiring a buyer's agent is you don't, in general, pay their commissions. That commission for your representation is paid by the builder out of a builder marketing fund that they have set aside to pay commissions out of. Now that is, of course, except for those builders that have reduced the commissions or zeroed out the commissions for buyer agents. You could potentially, depending on your agreement with your buyer agent, be on the hook to pay all or part of those commissions if you want to buy that specific home from that specific builder. So while most builders are ethical and above board, you get the idea that some builders are not so ethical or above board. They're going to try to get you not to have an agent because it makes it a lot easier for buyers that don't know what they're doing to go through, say, the contract like we talked about with the 2-year clause, to go through the inspection process. If they tell you you don't need an inspector, or we have our own independent inspector that comes in, they're going to dissuade you from doing that inspection. That's going to make it easier on them. You get the idea. They're going to try to rush you through the process and make it easy on them and less easy on you after you've moved into the home. Another thing that the less scrupulous builders are going to do is try to talk you into those big upgrades like the design center lady 10 years ago did to my clients. They're going to tell you, oh, this is only going to cost you a couple more bucks on your mortgage every month. Treat yourself, enjoy the beautiful new granite, level 8 granite we have, and wonderful backsplash we have, and yada, yada, yada. Well, those things are all great, and if you love them and you want them, then please spend the money on those things, especially if you can afford it. But know that when you go to sell your home, whether you have the level 1 basic granite or the level 8 special glow in the dark, amazing granite that will hum a tune for you when you turn the lights out, the buyer of your home, the future buyer of your home, is not going to be impressed. They're not going to pay you more for that special granite. Just be aware of that. Enjoy it if you're going to have it, but no, it's not going to add value to the home, unfortunately. So as you can see, buying a new construction home can be fun, but it also can be complicated. So based on my 15 years selling real estate, I have a few tips for you that I want to share that will hopefully make this whole process even easier. Tip number 1, always find a buyer agent prior to going to the sales center model of these builders' homes. As soon as you walk in the door, if you don't tell them you have an agent and specify who that agent is, and sometimes even hand them an agent's card, you are going to be working with that builder alone. You cannot get representation from the agent. Again, they're trying to cut out the agent to make things easier on themselves. So interview an agent, find the agent, ideally organize your day so that the agent can go with you to these design centers, go with you to these models, and get the process started that way. It's going to go a lot easier on you, I promise you. Also know, number 2 tip, the builder will not negotiate on price. Even during the slow times of like 2008, 9, and 10, builders did not negotiate on price. They will not lower their price. This is in general, some do, but most won't. Mainly because the people that just bought that same house that you're interested in buying a few months ago paid X. If you're paying X minus 1,000, 10,000, 20,000, you're going to tick off those recent buyers. It's also going to hurt the value of the neighborhood. So builders don't like to do that. They don't like to upset the apple cart. So what they do is they will give you incentives. A free refrigerator, free washer and dryer, closing costs, incentives like that in effect bring the cost down for you, but on paper, you're paying full price for it. So just be aware of that. Another good reason to have a real estate agent is that by taking that real estate agent with you, you are more likely to get those incentives. The agent's going to ask right up the front, what incentives do you have here? And be able to compare builder A to builder B and use those incentives as a way to figure out what is the best house for you. The third tip I have for you is when to get the builder to do specific upgrades for you. So there are certain things in a home that you want to have the builder do. A great example would be, let's say you have an unfinished attic that you want to be turning into a bonus room or an office or something like that. It is much cheaper during the construction process for the builder to do that work for you than for you to close on the home and then hire a general contractor to come through and do that upgrade. So if you are going through the building process, try to see if you can get the builder to do those upgrades that you want to have done while he's building the home. Some upgrades you should not have the builder do. For example, some builders charge an upgraded price for a special paint color. There's literally nothing different about the paint they use versus the special paint color, except it's a special paint color. The quality of the paint isn't any different, but I've seen builders charge $400, $500, $1,000 for a special paint color. Obviously, that's something that, depending on the size of the room, you may want to have done by a painter after you've closed on the home, or maybe you're talented enough you can do the work yourself. Again, that's something your agent can help you decide what's good upgrade for the builder to do and what's not so good of an upgrade for your builder to do. Tip number 4, don't buy the most expensive home in the neighborhood. So whenever you go into a neighborhood, there's always that big mamma jamma house that costs way more than every other house. You think it's amazing, you think you need that kind of space. I promise you, it's not a good idea to be the most expensive house in the neighborhood. You will not get the price per square foot out of that house when you go to sell the house down the road. You're better off going to a next tier up neighborhood and being a small house or a medium-sized house in that neighborhood than you are to be the big fish in the small pond of the neighborhood you're looking in. Tip number 5, get started 9 months or a year in advance. If you're even contemplating building a home, you want to get started very, very early in the process. Talk to your agent, interview your agent, decide if building new construction is for you, and go through the pitfalls and the positives that we've talked about today, weigh them out, and then go start interviewing builders. Decide is this something you want to do? You don't want to wait till the last minute to start building a home. You're going to get stuck behind the 8 ball. You're going to have to compromise and take things that you wouldn't have had to have normally taken if you had started at the beginning and started way early. And the 6th tip, know if you're going to need to sell your home quickly sometime after you've bought your home and the builder's still building in that neighborhood, it may not be possible to sell your home. Generally, people do not want to buy a resale home in a new construction neighborhood. The only times when this could happen is like we have now, where there's a shortage of inventory and people are buying up just about anything, you would have a chance of reselling it. Or if the builder is so far out in building homes that someone that comes in that neighborhood is going to have to wait a year or longer to get into their new home, they may be willing to compromise and accept your resale home. But please know, you probably are not going to be able to make a premium on it. You're probably just going to break even and get out and go move to relocation or whatever it is you need to do. Understand, it's not something you're going to make profit on. So there you go. There are some positives and negatives of new construction. Now, I don't want you to think that this is all doom and gloom, that I am anti-builder, that I'm anti-new construction. That's not the case at all. There are a lot of builders out there that I tremendously respect, like Terramore Homes, that do a phenomenal job. And I could, depending on your price range, list out 3 or 4 builders that you would want to go and meet with, and you would have a wonderful experience. But there are those builders out there who are cutting corners and doing things for the sake of profit, like reducing commissions. And these are the same builders that were begging us residential brokers for business back in 2009 and 10 when things were slow. These are the same builders that are now reducing commissions, cutting corners, and doing some not so nice things. So buyer beware. Get yourself a buyer's agent that can help you through this process, and you will be very happy with the result, I promise you. Thanks so much for watching. Please like and subscribe. We love you to comment below and let us know your thoughts. And with that being said, this has been Chris Morton. Take care. Bye-bye.